Okay, right. Assalamualaikum. So let's begin on new topic of integration. Okay, I like to think of integration is a very correlated to differentiation. Let's say if I do x squared and I differentiate it, I get myself 2x, and if I integrate it, I get myself x squared back with a little of plus c most of the time. I'll explain to you when there's no plus c. Okay, if I were to differentiate, let's say x squared, what happened? I get myself 2x. How do I get myself 2x? Power to, you bring the power transfer in front. And then what you do? The power minus 1. You got here lah. Okay. Integration, I like to think it of the other way around. If I were to integrate this thing, I get myself x cubed over 3. What happened was, the power we plus 1, and then whatever you got here, you transfer down. Can you see them? I want you to know the steps correctly. One moment. What do I mean by that? Differentiation. What do you do is, firstly, you transfer front first, the power, and second, you minus 1. So what about integration? Firstly, you plus 1 first, and then only you transfer down. I like to think of it that way, because I've seen people who mix things up. They use these steps and they got the wrong order. So don't get the order wrong. Right? Remember, for integration, you plus first, then only you transfer. It's the other way around compared to differentiation. And of course, I make a small mistake there. Can someone tell me what? I forgot to plus c. This plus c in exams, it worth 1 marks. So for those, if you forgot to plus c, other people get 16 over 16 and you got 15 over 16. So you'll be crying all alone. Don't forget to plus c. Just a small recap. What about if I give you this? I can rewrite it as x negative 2, right? So from here, the differentiation and integration. For differentiation, I get myself negative 2, negative 1, and I can rewrite it as negative 2 over x. It's negative 3, yeah? Minus. Don't worry, I myself sometimes make that mistakes. What about this one here? I almost got the steps wrong. So firstly you put here and then you plus first, -1, then only you transfer down. And of course you can rewrite the whole thing back as this. Are you okay? If you said you're okay, that means you got one thing wrong. It's a plus C. How much does C worth? 1 mark in exam. So do not forget about that. That's the most basic of all. Okay, the easiest way to start integration is for you to remember your old exponent friend. How do we differentiate exponent? You differentiate the power. Where do you put the power then? Put in front. You transfer front. And what else do you do? You copy the whole thing. Okay, some people prefer to copy first. And then you differentiate it, you put it in front, you got 2. Okay, as simple as that. Now, what about if I ask you, hey, integrate that for me? You sort of do the same thing. Oopsie. Now, what should you do with the power? You still differentiate it first. But the question is, where do you put them? You put it down. Or transfer down. Always remember this. Integration, we always transfer down. Differentiation, we always put in front. Okay, that's the main major difference between differentiation and integration. Are you okay? Are you okay with the slides? You missed 1 more marks. How many marks have you lost? 3 marks. Be careful. So then, if I give you something a bit more complicated, of e 2x plus 3, let's say plus 5x squared. Oh, sorry. No, this is not. Firstly, you can say you copy back. E 2x plus 3. And what happened? You differentiate the power. And you put it down there. Are you okay? Some of you have finally remembered. Don't lose too many lives. Of course, before you integrate things, before I go further, there's a little bit of tips. Okay, let's say if I want to differentiate. How do I differentiate this? If I want you to differentiate, the best advice firstly will be expand first, and then only you diff, which things will get a lot easier. 2x plus 4. This one I get. How about this one? you split it up first. 3x plus 5. Well, just I'm going to slow down a bit. Some people they did not see this move. You split it up and then you can simplify. This one here we expand. 3x plus 5. Sorry. Then only you differentiate. So the tips will be for calculus, expand and simplify first. Remember that? What about for integration? Integration is the same process as well. I'll show it to you. If I give myself like x plus 2 squared, well, it's a lot easier if you expand them. And then you integrate them up. Of course, you can simplify. Shh. Oopsie, I missed my dx. If you see my habit, I will write down bracket for the whole thing. Dx you need to write down. Dx is not part of the bracket. Dx is the last thing. It's the thing that squeeze them up. Okay, this thing and this thing squeeze them up. So I get myself 3x plus 5. That's how we did just now. Nothing special. Are you okay? I hear you screaming already. Plus C, good. So you don't lose any more life. Very good. All right, this kind of thing you can expand them up. Oh yeah, I have one more to show you, because some people did not see it last time. Let's take a new paper. What about if I ask you to differentiate this? I want you to differentiate. So how should you do? Yes, you can say we do product rule, but expand is easier. X squared plus 2x over here, 3x. I go a bit slow. So the same thing applies for integration. X plus 1, x plus 2. We don't integrate this, we don't integrate that. We expand them out first. X squared plus 3x plus 2. X cubed over 3. Yeah. By this time you said we won't get trapped by you anymore, sir. Good. Those are the basics. Now let's combine those basics. try it out. Okay, so for the first one just now, ex plus 2 squared, simply expand them up. See my habit, I put a bracket sandwiched by this integration and dx. So e2x, we copy back, differentiate the power, put it down. This one is the same. Differentiate the power, put it down, you got 1 basically. Plus 4x. Plus c. How many of you forgot plus c? Some people are smiling. I'm wondering what does the smiling means. Means oops, oh yes, I remember. Very good if you remember. What about this one? We expand it. So for the first one, first we expand. Second one, yes, we need to expand as well. And some people forget that, sir, ex times ex, what do we get? Well, if you forgot about it, remember something like this. If 2 power of 1 times with 2 negative 1, it becomes 2 1 minus 1, 2 power of 0, so 1. So it's the same for here. I should get myself ex times with e negative x. I get ex minus x with e0, and e0 is equals to 1. Okay, always remember your basics back, then inshallah everything goes fine. So over here, I should get myself ex is negative 1 plus 3ex 2e negative x plus 6. Of course, we can be a bit faster. 6 and 1, I get 7. Integrate 7. 7x. Over here is the same, 3ex over 1. Over here, plus 2e negative x over negative 1. Plus c. And you may leave your answer something like this. And some people argue, sir, e negative x, should not we make it as 1 over? You can leave it at this, or you can do 1 over. Things are fine. So what about the arrangement, sir? You get still full marks in any permutations, in any way of arrangement. Okay? And finally, this one you expand e for x plus 10 e3x plus 25 e2x. So what I did here first is I expand. And once I expand, what do I do now? Now only we use this ex, we split them up. And of course, you can simplify them straight away. E for x, ex. E3x, e3x over ex. E2x, e2x, ex. Ex. And now only you integrate them up. If you do things step by step, things will be a lot easier. Should you leave your answer in this way? I think it's okay. But if you're a bit more kiasu, which I think you should, simplify it out, factorize it out. My rule of thumb will be, if it's constant, then it's okay if you don't simplify, if you don't factorize. But if you see yourself with the power of x, you should factorize it out. That will be my rule of thumb in factorizing. Are you okay? Right, so that will be the basics of all integration. We continue with Elon.